Under the floodlights at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea delivered a statement performance. A night where everything clicked, the rhythm returned, and the fans finally had reason to smile again. A 3-0 victory over Wolverhampton Wanderers wasn't just another routine win. It was a display of belief, control, and the promise that the Blues are starting to find their identity again. For Chelsea fans, who've suffered through inconsistency and heartbreak for months, this was the kind of game that reminded them why they fell in love with the club. Fast football, smart pressing, and goals that came from real teamwork and desire. The match began with Chelsea's high-intensity pressing game right from the whistle. Enzo Fernández dictated the tempo from midfield, playing like the conductor of a perfectly tuned orchestra. Cole Palmer, once again the star boy of Stamford Bridge, was electric in every touch. Confident, creative, and ruthless in the final third. Wolves, who came into the game with a solid defensive plan, found themselves struggling to cope with the early waves of blue shirts attacking from all directions. The energy was contagious. Every pass, every press, every movement felt deliberate. The first goal came from a beautiful piece of combination play. Palmer danced past his marker, slipped a pass to Raheem Sterling, who unselfishly squared it across for Nicholas Jackson to tap home. It was the kind of goal that showed Chelsea's growing chemistry. Calm, patient, and precise. The crowd erupted, not because it was just a goal, but because it was the kind of football they've been craving. For the first time in a while, Chelsea looked like Chelsea again. Wolves tried to respond, but Chelsea's backline, led by Thiago Silva and Levi Colwill, was unbreakable. Silva, at 39, once again showed what leadership truly means. Organizing, shouting, anticipating every Wolves move before it even happened. His calmness spread through the defense. On the wings, Malo Gusto and Marc Cucurella were tireless, bombing forward to support attacks and tracking back to shut down any Wolves counter. This was total football, controlled and compact. As the game settled, the second goal arrived, and it was pure class. Enzo picked the ball near the halfway line, spotted Palmer's intelligent run between the lines, and played a pass that split the Wolves' defense like a knife through butter. Palmer didn't hesitate. One touch to control, one to finish. Curling it beyond Jose Sa into the far corner. Stamford Bridge exploded. It wasn't just a goal, it was a statement. Cole Palmer is not a future star. He is the present. His maturity, decision-making, and consistency have made him Chelsea's heartbeat this season. The chants of Cole Palmer echoed across the bridge as his teammates mobbed him in celebration. Wolves looked stunned. They had barely touched the ball, and every time they tried to build an attack, Chelsea's press suffocated them. Matheus Cunha and Hwang Hee-chan tried to spark something on the break, but Caicedo and Gallagher were relentless in winning the ball back. There was hunger in every tackle. The kind of intensity that shows a team fighting not just for 3 points, but for pride. The second half began with Wolves showing a bit more urgency. They pushed higher, trying to test Robert Sanchez, but Chelsea's defense stayed composed. Sanchez made a brilliant save from Cunha's curling shot early in the half, diving full stretch to his left to keep the clean sheet intact. That moment proved crucial, because just minutes later, Chelsea killed the game off. The third goal came from yet another flowing move. Sterling picked up the ball near the edge of the box, danced past two defenders with vintage flair, and curled a low cross that deflected perfectly into the path of Gallagher. The captain struck it clean and hard into the bottom corner. 3-0 Chelsea. Stamford Bridge was alive, singing again. The fans had been waiting for this. A complete performance, dominant from start to finish. But this game wasn't just about the scoreline. It was about redemption. Every Chelsea player on the pitch looked like they had something to prove. After weeks of criticism, after so much pressure on manager Mauricio Pochettino, this was the response everyone wanted. You could feel the emotion in Pochettino's celebration after the third goal. A fist pump toward the fans, a look of relief and belief that his project is finally taking shape. There were emotional moments all around the pitch. Thiago Silva hugging Palmer after the final whistle. Cucurella waving to the fans with tears in his eyes after hearing his name chanted again. Even Sterling, who's had a roller coaster season, looked rejuvenated, playing with the spark and confidence of his Manchester City days. The team finally looked united. 11 players fighting for one purpose. For Wolves, it was a tough night. They came in hoping to exploit Chelsea's defensive gaps, but they never found rhythm. Their midfield was outplayed, their defense stretched, and their attack isolated. Gary O'Neill's men tried to stay compact, but Chelsea's passing and movement constantly tore them open. It was one of those nights where no matter what Wolves did, Chelsea had the answer. The stats told the story clearly. 68% possession for Chelsea, 15 shots with 7 on target, and 9 key passes from Palmer alone. Wolves managed only 3 shots on target, none really testing Sanchez after the first half. Chelsea's midfield trio of Enzo, Caicedo, and Gallagher completely dominated the center of the park. Their energy, balance, and tactical awareness suffocated Wolves' creative flow. But perhaps the most emotional part of the night was watching the fans stand and applaud as Palmer left the pitch late in the game. This young man has become the face of Chelsea's new era, fearless, passionate, and classy. When he raised his hand to thank the fans, you could feel that connection. A rare bond between player and supporters that has been missing for too long. When the final whistle blew, the scoreboard read Chelsea 3-0 Wolves, but the real story was written on the faces of the players and the fans. Smiles, hugs, relief. The feeling of joy returning to Stamford Bridge. It wasn't just 3 points, it was a turning point. Chelsea's victory puts them back in contention for European qualification, and more importantly, injects confidence into a young squad still learning to play together. Pochettino's tactical plan finally looked complete. The build-up from the back, overlapping full-backs, fluid frontline movement, and intelligent pressing. Everything clicked. This was a game where every Chelsea fan could dream again, of better days ahead, of top 4 fights, of glory returning to the bridge. Football is emotional, and nights like these remind us why we endure the tough times. Because when your team performs like that, it's not just sport, it's magic. As for Wolves, they'll need to regroup quickly. Their recent form has been inconsistent, and this result exposed their defensive fragility. But they've shown resilience this season, so one bad night won't define them. For now, though, the night belongs to Chelsea, a team reborn under the lights, with a performance that echoed the words of every supporter. We're still here, and we're coming back stronger. This victory wasn't just numbers or tactics, it was emotion, unity, and belief. The fans left Stamford Bridge with a glow they haven't felt in a long time, chanting proudly as the team walked off the pitch. For the first time in months, Chelsea didn't just win a football match, they played like a family, and that's what makes champions. So as the floodlights dimmed and the echoes of blue songs faded into the London night, one thing was clear: Chelsea are far from done. The rebuild might take time, but with performances like this, the future looks bright, bold, and full of promise. Stamford Bridge was smiling again, and that's the most beautiful victory of all.